Warning, this video is going to be talking about mental health and all things related to it, so if you don't want to listen to that, please don't watch the video. I'm not going to be saying anything graphic, but I just need to let you know. All resources will be in the description, and this conversation will happen after the intro, so if you don't know what you want to do, you can make a decision after that. Okay, here we go. Hi, I'm Talia. If you're watching this, you either know me personally, or you're one of the few hundred random subscribers I've just acquired, so it's nice to meet you. So, from the age of 12, I can distinctly remember feeling different to everyone else. Like I would never belong, and that everyone had figured out life and I wasn't given the instruction manual. I don't know what caused this, and I don't really understand why it happened. It just did. I don't have any disabilities, there's no family history of the things I'm going to talk about. I'm just a rarity, and it kind of happened. I remember suddenly being acutely aware of all the small comments that men would make about women. That includes even boys. At my school when I was like 12 years old, being like, women don't do this, girls can't do that, I don't like when girls do XYZ. And I remember cementing that deep down as you're a girl, that must mean you're all the bad things. It must mean you're a bad person. I don't know why my brain did this, but it did. And I remember just subconsciously kind of feeling like I was othered and I didn't belong. And I don't know why, but it was exacerbated. Like, whenever I would hang out with girls, I was just always aware of how normal they were and how they could fit molds that I couldn't. I don't know. But, and then on the other hand though, I was also suddenly realizing I was attracted to girls. And so I was like experimenting with that and realizing that I'm bisexual, or just not straight for an easier term. And it just slowly crept up in my brain that like I couldn't be a good person. For some reason. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just have what I know. Like, I always explain this feeling to doctors and to people is that I feel like an alien that visited Earth and I'm watching everyone else experience it, but I don't understand, or that I'm in a bubble and everyone's on the outside. I don't know. But then I go to high school and it slowly got progressively worse. I remember feeling like there was a dark cloud sitting on the top of my brain, like just pressing down all the time. And I felt like I didn't have a good enough reason or excuse to feel this way, because honestly nothing bad or traumatic had happened to me in my life. And so I felt like I didn't have a reason to feel this way. So I kind of became a compulsive liar and tried to give explanations. I watched the show Skins way too young thanks to Tumblr and being harassed on Twitter, because I had Twitter at 12 years old, so not a great idea. And so I watched Skins and I was like, oh, these people do drugs. Maybe I could pretend I do drugs and that's the reason I'm sad. I don't know. Kid logic. And so I slowly was doing this thing where it's like, oh, if people think I'm weird, maybe I should just be the weird person and accept that. So, high school was terrible for me because I felt extremely alone and that I didn't have friends, and I had all these things like on my notes here. I'll read just a, a small list of things that I would do and go through to explain stuff. You get me. So I would take fake drugs to school and try to sell them. I shaved this side of my hair and dyed my hair bright red after bleaching it. I was a chronic self-harmer, and I desperately wanted love. Like, I felt other and I needed someone. So I would just, anytime there was a person who was like nice to me, I would just immediately fall in love with them. I didn't even really know what love was or feel it at that time, but I'd have relationships that would be like 2 weeks long, and it felt really awful and horrible and heartbreaking, and then immediately jump to another relationship and another one and another one. I even went as far as identifying as a guy because I thought I couldn't be with women as a girl. Not like sexually, I mean like I couldn't relate to them and be in that group. Whatever that group is. I had extreme mood swings, and it just all these factors combining, it wasn't a great time for me. It was getting really bad. Like, I was not who the people who knew me well thought I was my entire life, so I went to therapy and I was prescribed Zoloft. It was getting really bad. Like, I wasn't doing well at school. Not that that's an important measurement of success or anything like that, but like I wasn't trying, and yeah. So I was talking to a therapist about what I was feeling, but not really getting any answers, so I took research into my own hands, and this diagnosis kept popping up over and over again when I put my symptoms in, and I asked the therapist about it, and they said I was too young to be diagnosed with it and it doesn't apply to me, so I didn't bring it up again, but deep at the back of my brain I always knew that's what the problem was. So I'll tell you what that problem and diagnosis is in a bit, but I was prescribed Zoloft and I left mainstream learning and did flexible learning, which means you don't actually learn anything in my case. It just means you don't have to go to school. I stopped self-harming, and so I felt like I was cured. I don't feel depressed anymore. I don't have this black cloud looming over my head. And so I did the thing you should never do, which is cold turkey your medication. And I stopped Zoloft. I then got a bit better, but that would lead to me getting a lot worse. So I got into a long-term relationship with a family friend, and this relationship caused really bad mood swing episodes in me and eventually a manic episode. So I was in this relationship and it involved, on my part, codependency, which is, in my way of explaining it, it feels like you're going to die whenever this person's not around. So I was in a relationship where he would constantly go weeks at a time without speaking to me. We never had a fight or anything like that. He just thought he could pick and choose when the relationship happened, sort of thing. And so every time we hadn't spoken for a week or two, my brain would go to, oh, he's dead. He's dead. So we were together for 4 years, and in that 4 years we broke up 3 times because he would break up with me, and then weeks later he'd be coming back being like, I want to be with you again, and then break up, and it was a continuous cycle. But every time he broke up, I physically felt like my life would not continue. it just had no meaning and my life was worthless. But the last time we broke up, I had a severely bad manic episode. I was sleeping around trying to find this fulfillment of, like, someone needs to love me. I have no one. I'm worthless. I felt like I had no achievements to my peers as well because I didn't have a car or a license or a job or lots of friends, anything like that. So that didn't help with this otherness feeling that I've explained that I have. So it got to a point where I went to a doctor's office and I was like, if I don't speak to a doctor, I feel like something really bad could happen. So I explained all my life story to them, where I was at. I have these codependency issues with this guy that was my ex, how I used to be a self-harmer, I have done manic things in the past, I have even, like, wrote some horrible messages to people, crazy mood swings. I also have this idolization complex thing where, which I've gotten a lot better at, but if someone is in my life and they don't want to talk to me or whatever, I have this idolization thing where, like, I am worthless and other people are better than me, so I need to look up to other people. So I explained all this, and the doctor said, sounds like you have bipolar disorder. And I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, I've been saying this for, like, my entire teenage years. So at 20 years old, after, let's see, 8 years of chronic mood swings and people just telling me it was puberty, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. There are 2 types of bipolar. I have type 1 with rapid cycling, so it means mine happen more often. Type 1 means you have episodes of mania and episodes of depression, and then you can be normal in between. I'm not a doctor, this is just how it's been explained to me. And then bipolar 2 is episodes of flat, normal life, and then episodes of very bad depression. I was then finally prescribed the right medication, which is Zoloft and sodium valproate, which is also known as Depakote, Epilim, a bunch of other things, but it is also used for epilepsy, surprisingly. But this cocktail of medication has actually saved my life. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I would go days at a time without sleeping, looking out the window, watching the sun go down and go back up. Like, not sleeping, not dreaming. It was bad. I can only explain to you what medication has done for me. Some people are against it. Some people, like me, think it saved their life. Now when I have mood swings or emotions, I can think about it and be like, oh, this is a feeling. This won't last forever. Before medication, every time I had a feeling, it was like, this is the only way I am ever going to feel. And then recently I spoke to a psychiatrist because just to catch up about my medication and stuff, and I explained everything else, that all my past and all that again, and I also have a personality disorder. So I also have borderline personality disorder. The best way to explain borderline personality is that your emotions aren't in check. So, my entire life I have felt othered, and turns out I am. But many other people have these diagnoses as well. So, I'm not alone, and neither are you.